her guard was up, and I sensed that. And literally after about 3 weeks, I said, I basically went to her house and I said, look,
He dumped me.
I dumped her.
No, it was becoming torture for you. We get it.
Well, I didn't. Well, the thing is, and I never tried to have sex with her, and she said no.
I'm not saying
it was clear that he wanted more than I was able to give.
Yeah, there you go. All right, fair enough. Okay.
And rather than try and mold her into make
force
her
it
into somebody who was ready.
Yeah.
I was I was at a point in my life where I was like, I'm mature enough to recognize that this person, that she needs to go through this, and I don't want, but I need to protect myself here. I'm not going to sit and wait around for it. It's just going to put more pressure on her, and I'm going to end up not getting what I want anyway. So I basically said, I think you need to be single, and I don't want to be just dating you casually. I want a relationship with you. I like you too much to stay in this.
You know, if you'd asked me this 10 years ago, I'd have said I had a great experience at Juilliard. And the truth is I actually did have a good experience there, but I get in a lot of trouble for this. I don't think they do a good enough job at that school telling you when to use the tools that they teach you there and when not to.
Right. They're teaching a very specific bag of tools.
They're teaching you how to do Shakespeare and regional theater. And then the kids that are coming out of there are using those Shakespeare and regional theater tools and going into auditions for, like, you know, sitcoms on ABC, and it's fucking ridiculous. You know, they sound ridiculous. They look ridiculous and they sound ridiculous.
Right.
And it's not preparing them for real life skills beyond regional theater and Shakespeare theater.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Harvard, if you're going to drop a name, of studying drama. Juilliard.
It is. That's what they say. It's a very good program. A lot of the stuff that I learned there was. I learned some amazing tools there, and then over the course of the next 10 years after I graduated, I had to learn how to completely dismiss all of those tools.
Stop using the tools.
And go back to everything that I was when I first came to the school before I learned anything.
I find that definitely to be true, more so with women, however. I feel like in our society, it's not encouraged of women, if they're as beautiful as my wife is, to have a good personality and to be smart, because I think that's too intimidating to men, and so they're encouraged to just be pretty.
Well, yeah, well, I think all of our characters are a little ambiguously gay.
Yeah.
You know, and but I think that's actually reflective of most people. All right, let me explain. No, I just...
You got me.
Look, listen, man, listen. I think honestly, on a scale of 1 to 10, I think everybody falls somewhere in that range of gayness. Like 1 being not gay at all.
It's a
10,
spectrum.
There's a total spectrum. 1 being not gay at all, 10 being like totally 100% gay. I think that this entire.
Like, where are you? Do you think?
No, but you know,
I love that on the show.
No, but translations, like a lot of people say, you know, well, we need the character to be likable, but really what you need is a character to be relatable. And in order for a character to be relatable, you just have to understand why they're doing what they're doing. So you can do crazy shit, but you have to understand why the character needs to do that. Yeah. That's all you really need to know, because everybody has insane impulses. That's what.
No, see, you're wrong. Because that mentality exists. People act that way. Right. And they act that way even more when they're with each other and they're not in public. You know, so our characters are really just exploring. Our show is exploring through these characters a mentality that exists in the world.
Sure.
And it's not a reflection of it. That's why it's a satire of that mentality. It's not what we believe. It's what certain people in the world believe and talk like and act like and actually.
Yeah, I'd say that's exactly right. I mean, it was us exploring it, and also acknowledging the fact that, you know, our show is antiquated in the sense that, you know, the stars of the show are 5 white people, and acknowledging the fact that we have a very limited experience in this world, and that our experiences as white people does not reflect everybody else's experience. We needed to acknowledge that.
Character the exact opposite point of view, the exact opposite stance, and you watch them battle it out, and only to realize that the truth is always somewhere in the middle. You know, that to dig your heels in regardless of the information that's put in front of you on whatever your point of view is, and not take in any new information or try to learn anything, is really fucked and sad. And it's funny to watch our characters do it, but it's too much of what's going on now, is that people don't even stop to listen to the other side of the argument anymore.
True that, yeah.
People are definitely becoming desensitized. There's so many shocking things on television. It's not that we don't. What we don't do is we don't do things purely to shock people. I think in order to get a genuine laugh out of somebody, you do need to surprise them. Mm-hmm. I think it's the same thing with, and that's the style of our. That was the style of our show, in the same way that, a horror film is trying to get genuine scares out of people. You have to surprise them, whether it's with information or a cat jumping out of a thing, whatever. Although that's cheap. But I think, we're always looking for the opposite of what you expect, usually, in a person's reaction or how they decide to, react to a situation or move forward with a situation. And so it's never shock for the sake of shock, but it is surprise for the sake of comedy, certainly.
Cool.
And I'm not one of those people who doesn't read reviews or doesn't read my Twitter feed after an episode. I do the opposite. I read everything I can get my hands on because I find it fascinating to see how people react to our episodes.
Well, I do too.
And I'm
I want to know how to improve the show always. I'm curious.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I don't let it influence me too much, but some we're listening to the audience.
Yeah. I want to know what people
thought. What's hitting.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think you're right, Charlie. I think we have become and it's all coming from the right place. The whole PC movement, it comes from the right place. You're trying to be sensitive to everyone's point of view, everyone's religious, background, everyone's ethnicity. You want to be sensitive to people and what they want to be called and how they want to be treated. I think the difference is what we try to do is the characters can be terrible people and do terrible things. It needs to be clear, however, that the show is not a terrible show and that the people who are making the show are not terrible people. Mm-hmm. That's important to us. But it's not just because we, are worried that people are going to think we're terrible people. It's that, to me, it wouldn't be funny. It wouldn't be a good show if the people making the show weren't coming from a good place.
That is what makes it a satire.
Yes.
That's what makes it a satire.